Welcome to the elderly Olympic Stadium in Amsterdam, which is awash with anticipation. Ajax, strongly placed to win the UEFA Cup for the first time, and so become only the second club in more than 30 years to complete the set of all three major European trophies. Ironically, Juventus, the other club that have achieved that, the great domestic rivals to the barrier to Ajax tonight, Torino. Well, such is the confidence here that Ajax have planned to parade the trophy at midnight tonight. In the first leg, they twice led, and returning here with a 2-2 draw was eminently satisfactory. Ajax unable, though, to field the same side which performed so admirably in Turin. Their sharpest attacker, Dennis Bergkamp, has been nursing a leg injury, but he's fallen victim to the flu. Aaron Winter will play further forward, and Rob Alflin, who played so well in the first leg against Genoa, that was in the previous round. Alflin is in wearing number 10. The number 10 for Torino is also an important choice. Martin Vasquez, the Spaniard from Real Madrid, it seemed was going to be left out, but Emilio Mondonico has thought again. Two players who missed the first leg with suspension are back, the powerful Roberto Policano and the foxy Luca Fusi. That's offset slightly by bans for Bruno and Annoni, two muscular defenders. The referee, Zoran Petrovic, who officiated in the World Cup finals back in 1986 in Mexico, and of course more recently in the Italian finals. It's a very big night for Ajax. The confidence here, and one hopes for the supporters' point of view that it's not misplaced, is really high. The atmosphere is quite remarkable, and Torino have to contend with it. The suggestion is that Torino will be happy to keep the game tight and keep it goalless, bearing in mind they have to win, or at least match that 2-2 draw. I think a 3-3 draw, which would also win them the UEFA Cup, may well be beyond them, but basically let's look at it as though they have to win, that they would try and keep the game goalless, and maybe in the latter part of the game, if they're able to still be at 0-0, they'll change the personnel. It's all in Mondonico's hands, of course, but then they might throw one or two attackers on from the bench and try and do what they have to do tonight that way. We shall see. We're underway to a backdrop of firecrackers and some aggressive partisan support. Ajax, who finished second in the Dutch league, they've been pipped for the domestic championship again by PSV Eindhoven, but they really have sparkled in this European adventure. Five is De Boer, Danny Blind wears number 2, and Sonny Siloy is at 3. Here's Johnny van Schip. Peterson in the middle, Brian Roy is getting there as well, and as we suspected, Aaron Winter making tracks into the middle to try and provide the punch that obviously will be missed with Bergkamp's absence. It was touch and go, but they've decided the risk was too great, and he's not even named as one of the substitutes. Roy to take the game's first corner. Policano got his head to it. Such a strong man and an important influence for Torino. He missed the first leg of the final and the second leg of the semi-final against Real Madrid, having been sent off in Madrid. Venturin with a throw. Torino, who have been very commendable in their work in the Italian First Division this season. They're sitting comfortably in 4th place. But there's no doubt that as a club they have a little bit of an inferiority complex when compared to their rivals in Turin, Juventus, who have won everything so often. Torino trying to win a European club trophy for the first time, and if they are going to win it, they've certainly done it the hard way. But you do feel that Ajax hold the stronger cards by far. One of them is the mercurial Brian Roy. Across from Craig, and it's too long beyond John van Schip. And the Casagrande forward for Torino, stopped in his tracks by Blind, and then the ball bounced up and was controlled with the arm of Pollicano. So a free kick to Ajax. A very pleasant evening in Amsterdam. Clear blue skies. We're into the evening now. The kick-off local time at 8:30 p.m. Schifo for Martin Vasquez. Certainly worth the shot. And maybe Torino aren't going to be quite as defensive as they've been indicating. Maybe it's all subterfuge. It wouldn't be too much of a surprise if that was the case. Certainly the choice of Rafael Martin Vasquez as opposed to Gianluca Sordo is a choice that has a bit more emphasis in attack. And of course they have got Lentini as well as Casagrande to try and hit on the break. I just wonder how Ajax are going to cope with the responsibility that's clearly on their shoulders. This crowd of around 50,000 in a stadium that has seen better days and may well be demolished over the next year or so. There are plans to build on a different site. And such is the state of disrepair here that you're seeing these pictures courtesy of temporary floodlight pylons. I can't recall seeing such structures really anywhere else in the world. They're on scaffolding in the corners of the stadium. The original floodlights had to be knocked down for safety reasons. Just to remind you once again, 2-2 in Turin. And Torino really still at the races, thanks to Casagrande's opportunism. It really has been a potent force in their run in the UEFA Cup. The worry defensively for Torino is that in losing Bruno and Annoni, two archetypal Italian defenders, that they might just be short of the discipline required against a team really committed to attack. Wim Jonk with his back to goal, and it was hit by Craig. Michel Craig, who is a member of the Dutch Olympic squad. But not in Australia, where the rest of the squad is preparing to take on the Australians. Second leg here in a week after the first game. Luca Marchegiani may well have a busy night ahead of him. Siloy. Now Blin. Jonk. The Swede Pettersson. Now Roy. Brian Roy again. And stopped by Schifo. Cleared by Cravero, but Ajax biting in. That's beautifully played by Jonk. Van Schip with an early cross that's deflected behind for the corner. And again, Ajax look to the left foot of Roy. Craig is the number 8. Martin Vasquez back, keeping an eye on him. Roy to take the corner. Torino pulled everyone back to defend. Siloy. Alflin, the number 10, not Bergkamp, which is a great disappointment to the Ajax fans. That's no disrespect to Rob Alflin. Schifo, he did very well under pressure, but Ajax biting in. They know that an early goal will disrupt the Torino battle plan. Torino have lost only 5 league games this season in Italy. They've gone unbeaten in their last 8, just 1 defeat in 13, and on Saturday they thrashed Genoa 4-0 to emphasise their power and attack, which Lentini is looking to prove here. And that win over Genoa, significant of course, because Genoa were Ajax's opponents in the semi-final of the UEFA Cup. That's a crude challenge by Benedetti. Right into the back of Pettersson. De Boer. In pushing Aaron Winter a little further forward. Ajax are losing some of his wonderful ability to fetch and carry. He really is a professional's player. Oh, and Jonk very nearly found the ball running into his stride then, as Torino hesitated at the throw. Alflin, very well played, and it's Siloy who breaks on the right and then heads in his cross after the first attempt was blocked. Out by Policano, space here for Rafael Martin Vasquez. Lentini, who was magnificent in the recovery against Real Madrid, and not always as a passer of the ball as he was then towards Schifo, but when he gets it at his feet and takes on defenders around the edge of the penalty area, well, he's one of the most exciting young talents in Italy. 10 minutes gone. Mondonico and Louis van Gaal, the 2 coaches in opposition, watching their respective sets of players battle it out here for a very big prize. Roberto Musi, who had a spell with Milan, and as a squad player, he was in their championship side of 1988. Milan, of course, crowned last weekend as the new champions of Italy. Here's Winter. It's another corner off Cravero. Casagrande coming back to use his height defensively. Venturin guarding the near post. And it's Fusi on the other post. Marchegiani pushing his defenders into place as Van Schip takes the corner. And was a push on Cravero. Ajax, with such a proud tradition in European club football. That wonderful generation of players in the late 60s through to the mid-70s, a hat-trick of wins in the Champions Cup, of course. 71, 72 and 73, when Johan Cruyff led the way, and it was Cruyff, the coach, who got the club by the scruff of its neck again in the 80s, and the Cup Winners' Cup was won in 87. And now they're looking to lift the UEFA Cup. Torino represented by around 4,000 supporters. Really haven't heard too much of them. The pre-game celebrations were almost worthy of the match having been played and the trophy safely with Ajax. Such joy around the place. And such noise as well. But funnily enough, since the game started, the fans perhaps starting to feel a bit of the pressure themselves, wondering whether their team can deliver. Martin Vasquez. Here's Alflin, 2 up ahead of him. Pedersen was one of them, coming for the ball to feet with Benedetti at his back again. Musi. Schifo giving a little bit of time. Lentini. That's a good try by Martin Vasquez. A very good try indeed. And Menzo was equal to it. Wasted no time in delivering the shot, and it was directed well too. It needed an alert goalkeeper for Ajax, and Menzo was just that. De Boer, just too high for Pedersen, who's won this competition before with Gothenburg. So too has Martin Vasquez with Real Madrid. Enzo Schifo has been a major success since returning to Italy with Torino after that disastrous time he had with Inter. Rediscovered his belief in French football. Siloy. Now Blind. Winter furthest forward. I must say, if you had to look to one country to provide a team to cope in these difficult circumstances, you would look to Italy. And Torino had some tradition of the Italian game in defending well in adversity. Casagrande, they've got some clout in their attacking players as well. Casagrande, it didn't look a particularly damaging foul. Maybe it was the way he fell at the end of it. Put out that right arm there and was moving at speed. And he's picked himself up, shaken himself down and got on with the game quite quickly, which is encouraging. Casagrande's in the centre. Schifo as well, jumping with Menzo, jumping into Menzo, and that's obviously a foul. 16 minutes gone. And the cross from Lentini was over Casagrande. Schifo coming in. He thought perhaps on the blind side of the outfield players, but the goalkeeper was aware of his presence. And in fact, Schifo, in careering into Stanley Menzo, has gone off the pitch and come off the worse. Torino, for the moment, down to 10 men. Schifo, basically, I think, trying to get his breath back. Yonk. Let me remind you that 0-0 would be good enough for Ajax, although they're clearly not playing for that, because their 2 away goals would come into the reckoning after 90 minutes if there were no goals here tonight. Just really can't see that happening. And of course, Torino, from their point of view, mustn't let it happen. Jonk. It was Alflin trying to find a path through. Marchegiani came out to claim. His clearance met by Danny Blin. Siloy. Jonk, who possesses a very powerful shot. Hasn't yet had the opportunity tonight to reveal it. He's on the ball again. Siloy. That's lovely play by Craig. Well, maybe having manipulated the ball into that position, he might have looked for laying the ball off quickly to a colleague. Easy to say, sitting where we are. As it is, it's Martin Vasquez. Musi with a throw. Winter with that great energy and great engine. Schifo trying to get it into the feet of Casagrande, but he was off target. Well, Mondonico not 100% happy with what he's seeing, but I'm sure he'd have settled for getting through the first 19 minutes, which is what we've had so far, without going behind on aggregate. And but for Menzo, from the shot from Martin Vasquez, Torino could have been in front. Benedetti again, very tight on Stefan Pettersson. Van Skip to take the free kick. De Boer has come up. Craig is in there as well. But it's just too high for the player who was really targeted then, Pettersson, who'd earned the foul. Van Skip, who's expert at the dead ball situations. Very good crosser of the ball. And it's in free play from wide positions, a proven international with Holland. Not, I'm sure, what his parents expected, Johnny Van Skip, when he was born in Canada 28 years ago. He's been a fine footballer for Ajax. It's public knowledge here that he's one of the better paid players at the club. And he's earned that status. De Boer. One thing which is so impressive about Ajax as a whole is the production line of talent. It seems never-ending. De Boer came along it. And so, of course, did Brian Roy, who got into the first team at the age of 17. And I think it's fair to say hasn't fully fulfilled his potential. But he's certainly capable of winning any match in which he takes part. Blin, De Boer, Pettersson pulling away on the far side. Winter coming in as well. It's too high for Oh! Well, it very nearly came back to him, teed up by Policano. Here's Jonk. Now Van Skip. Back for Alflin. A lot of Ajax players forward. Musi with the header away. And that's the shot I was talking about. Not on target this time from Wim Jonk, but if they give him enough opportunities, I'm sure he'll, as they say, work the goalkeeper. saw Louis van Gaal making a note or two. He really has taken on this job as if to the manner born, after, you might recall, Leo Beenhakker left somewhat controversially in the early weeks of the season to go back to Real Madrid. Zoran Petrovic comes from Belgrade. 2 up, 3 back. The odds working in Ajax's favour. Van Schip. Off goes Winter again with speed and with intelligence. Pedersen coming to the near post. Winter has forced a corner, although Fusi believes that it went straight out off the Ajax man. Luca Fusi, who got the crucial goal against Real Madrid in the semi-final, that stopped Ajax having a final confrontation with Leo Beenhakker. Well, Torino not happy about the award of this corner. Now they've got to defend against it. Locked on the line. Well, we pointed out the men on the post, and that's why they're there. And given the protests by Fusi in the first place about the decision, well, Torino will feel mightily relieved that it didn't lead to a goal, but there might be one now from Roy. Well saved by Marchegiani. This was the corner, and it was Fusi who cleared it himself. And after that, well, Roy got the range. So we're back almost where we started at another Ajax right-wing corner. Pedersen trying again in the centre to get free. Marchegiani makes it his. Well, the most intense spell around the Torino goal so far. It's come with the game approaching the 25-minute mark. Casagrande. Oh, and Siloy was lured in, couldn't intercept. Lentini takes him on. Oh, Casagrande! It's hit the post. It was where the Brazilian is so strong in the air, so we've had headers at both ends that have threatened to give the game the first goal. Beautiful cross by Gigi Lentini. And once Casagrande climbs like that, you do really expect the ball to end up next stop in the back of the net. It didn't. It was very close. Menzo could only stand and watch. It's a very good game in keeping with the first leg. Martin Vasquez. Cravero. And they asked for a penalty. De Boer was the defender, and the referees having none of it. They look at the linesman. And Mondonico is showing his displeasure in a most unique way, holding up the seat. Well, Cravero caught them out, the sweeper. Got forward, checked back, and then flung himself to the ground. If he'd kept on his feet, well, he certainly would have had a clear-cut shooting chance. Torino did feel that they had a good case for a penalty in the first leg. But the only penalty of that game, which was refereed by the Englishman Joe Worrell, went to Ajax. Casagrande, who is a very hot-tempered character, the Brazilian. Blind. Now Yonk. Alflin. Foul by Pollicano. This very strong left-sided player who's having to do primarily the work of a defender tonight. He's most dangerous when he gets into the other half of the pitch. It's a free kick to Ajax. And now they have a corner. Martin Vasquez, who hopes to stay on with Torino next season. That's by no means a certainty. There's been a lot of debate about him within the club and amongst the fans. Van Skip to come across and take the corner. And Marchegiani, well, he almost got too high and knocked the ball down. Two forward for Torino, Martin Vasquez and Lentini. They'll get the throw. Danny Blind trying to keep those around him orderly and calm in the heart of the Ajax defence. Martin Vasquez. Well, that was risky. Blind, they can break here. In fact, Torino have covered it quite well. It's prodded on by Pettersson, but way ahead of Roy. De Boer's foul on Lentini. Free kick quickly taken. Fusi. Pollicano has ventured forward this time. He's got Venturini trying to make an angle for him. Casagrande in the centre. Just bumped at the right time by Siloy. And he's been complaining now for a good few minutes. And there's plenty of irony in the applause of the coach, and you can't blame players if they're ill-disciplined when those on the bench get caught up in the same sort of emotion. I know this is a very, very significant night, the biggest in Mondonico's career as a coach for sure. But one senses that his players would benefit from the coach keeping cool. So a yellow card for Casagrande. As I said earlier, is no stranger to trouble. Martin Vasquez. Well, they've let him run. It was intercepted by Yonks, Menzo, who's very adept outside his penalty area, having to scamper along the goal line there to prevent the corner. It's been an invigorating half an hour in the Olympic Stadium in Amsterdam, built for the 1928 Olympic Games. And as I said earlier, its age rather shows, but it remains very much a football setting with a great tradition. Not, of course, the usual home venue for Ajax, but when they need the greatest space, they come here and have done for many years. Touched on by Pedersen first of all, and then by Winter. It's Aaron Winter in a race with Marchegiani. And Ajax are left disappointed at the end of it. Marchegiani came out and didn't really get to the ball, did he? But the decision is a goal kick. Well, it must have crossed the referee's mind that he turned down a penalty claim at the other end. I would say that maybe Ajax had better grounds for expecting the referee to point to the spot. Pollicano, who's getting a bit of a teasing at times by Johnny Van Skip. Blind. Ajax looking to be only the third Dutch club to win the UEFA Cup. Feyenoord did it back in the 70s, so too did PSV. Pedersen. Winter. That's a very strong challenge by Stefan Pedersen. In the end, he's brought down by Fusi, who recognised that he's done wrong. It was a nice touch of honesty, with a fair amount of deception going on. And Pedersen, who tackled like a centre-back to get the ball, was then clipped from behind. Well, De Boer actually benefited there from the attentions to Pedersen, who might well have been the original target. Those two are the players who are causing Torino trouble when the ball is hung up in the middle of their penalty area. Oh, Craig! Well, it wasn't a serious error, but it was an error. And then Casagrande ruffling the feathers of Menzo momentarily, more significantly irritating the referee, having already been shown a yellow card. Craig. Here's De Boer. We have talked about the shortcomings of the stadium, at least in its lack of modern facilities. But I should point out that the playing surface is worthy of such a major match as this. And so is the volume of noise being produced by the Ajax fans. They really will rock the old foundations here if Ajax do score, but they failed to do that in 34 minutes. Roy. Alflin, and that was telegraphed, cut out by Policano. Siloy gets a yellow card, saying it's his first foul, and I can't remember too many from him earlier. Lentini has to be shackled from the Ajax point of view, but there was no need for Siloy really to do that in that area of the pitch. And now he has to play under the handicap, knowing that he can't really mistime anything. That really would put a cat amongst the pigeons if Ajax were suddenly down to 10 men. Oh, De Boer, that also is not really what they wanted. Venturi, now Schifo. Torino with Toro, the bull, as their emblem, and they would hope tonight symptomatic of a bullish attitude, and they've psychologically stood up to it very well, and on the football front aren't doing too badly either on a night when they have to score to stand any chance of winning the UEFA Cup. They've got an opportunity at this corner. It's Benedetti who was up a little early. Ajax, who came past the Swedish club Örebro, Rot-Weiss Erfurt from Germany, Osasuna from Spain, Belgium's Ghent, and then two Italian clubs they faced. Genoa, a very buccaneering performance in Genoa to win the first leg 3-2 when they scored in the first minute and the last. And rather shored up the second leg, a 1-1 draw. And now taking on Torino, 2-2 2 weeks ago tonight. 0-0 here. Roy. He's got Young Cup with him. And Roy. Flicked on by Casagrande. Lentini trying to force his way between Messrs Blind and Siloy. Jonk. Peterson. Even without Bergkamp, you do feel that Ajax have enough other proven goal scorers, but there's no doubt that Bergkamp has been the jewel in their crown, and they'd have loved to have been able to select him tonight. If you missed the reason for that, which I gave at the outset of our coverage tonight, he's had an injury, but that hasn't been the key reason for his absence. He's caught the flu, and that's also produced a throat infection. So no Dennis Bergkamp, but there is Johnny van Schip, and a free kick to Ajax with 7 minutes to go to half-time. Keep your eye on De Boer and Peterson. It's Peterson, and the ball was coming down, but not quite quickly enough for Peterson to predict the trajectory accurately. Schifo. Louis van Gaal changed the tactics that Beenhakker had used, and I understand wasn't shy about telling everybody why, but his confidence hasn't been misplaced. He's on the verge of a triumph, but it's not yet secure. Musi. Cavero caught out this time, and they'll need to just fill in behind him. Van Schip. Pedersen in the centre, and only Aaron Winter was getting there really quickly for Ajax. No need, of course, for them to go hell for leather for an opening goal, as long as they don't concede one. Lentini. But you do wonder whether the first half is going to be merely the prelude for a really passionate and dramatic second half, when obviously Torino have got to come out more. I'm sure Mondonico has said to his players, well, if it's 0-0 at half-time, that's not at all discouraging. But we're still 5 minutes away from that. It's Craig with a free kick from a pretty optimistic range. Blind. Roy. Now Jonk. Cleverly threading it through for Peterson, who holds off Schifo and feeds Van Schip. It's an early cross. Marchegiani again showing why Arrigo Sacchi, the Italian team manager who is here tonight, regards Marchegiani as one of the potential successors to Walter Zenga. Well, he's got Pagliuca of Sampdoria as a rival in that respect. And Pagliuca will be parading his goalkeeping skills a week tonight at Wembley. Sampdoria against Barcelona as the European season draws to a close with the Champions Cup final. On the roll of honour already, Werder Bremen in the Cup Winners' Cup. That was last Wednesday in Lisbon. I'm sure many of you watched that. And here you're watching Torino testing out Ajax with Musi. Lentini. Schifo's got into the centre, Casagrande is there. Venturin for Pollicano. Well, it's knocked away by Alflin for a throw. Torino certainly had enough players forward then to suggest that they were capable of finding a way through. And now they have a corner. Martin Vasquez will take it. Lentini waiting by the near post. Casagrande right on the edge of the goal area. There's a good corner too. Lentini! Well, he might have been penalised for dangerous play. The referee didn't see it that way, which I think was to the Yugoslav officials' credit. Because Lentini connected pretty well. The ball didn't travel too far, and he certainly connected with the ball rather than with any opponent. And had it gone into the net, you'd have liked to have seen it count, which it would have done. Pollicano is very Latin. He doesn't hide his emotions. Craik. Now Jonk. Blind had to scurry, but he got there. Craik again. Winter and Pedersen in the centre, cut out by Clavero. De Boer reacted quickly. Roy. That's out of play. Well, it has been an intriguing first half, hasn't it? Quite a lot of the contests played in the mind. Ajax knowing if they keep a clean sheet, the UEFA Cup is theirs. And without Bergkamp, that's got to be retaken. The ball hasn't gone out of the penalty area. But without Bergkamp, they might not just have the inspiration in the Torino penalty area that this rather shy, self-effacing young man, who was 23 last Sunday, is able to produce. Torino, for their part, very well aware that the occasion here lasts the full 90 minutes and not rushing their approach, but not conceding too much ground defensively either. Lentini. Oh, well, I think everyone knew where he wanted to play it. He didn't quite reach Schifo. Musi. Casagrande looking for a cross. Well, he's trying to control it for himself. It broke for Martin Vasquez. Van Skip. It's half-time in the Olympic Stadium. Really, you could say, so far, so good for both sides. Louis van Gaal goes off, knowing that his team have 2 away goals in the bank. If it stays level again here, unless it goes, of course, to 2-2, then Ajax will win. But Torino have shown enough to worry Ajax, and they've certainly taken some of the passion out of the crowd. They needed Fusi to clear off the line, but Casagrande has hit the post. It really is a second half to look forward to, but at half-time in the Olympic Stadium, it's Ajax 0, Torino 0. Welcome back to Amsterdam. There's been a lot of speculation through the half-time interval here as to just how this will turn out. It really is very finely balanced. What do Ajax do? Do they believe that they can keep it goalless and win the UEFA Cup for the first time on the away goals rule? But then they run the risk right to the very last of maybe having the prize snatched from them by one Torino attack. And they've certainly looked capable, as Enzo Schifo gives his view to a very vigilant reporter there, radio reporter. Certainly Torino have looked capable of getting the goal that they need. Both sides with the flashing headers very nearly giving us a goal. Stefan Pettersson from Brian Roy's corner, Luca Fusi off the line. And then Walter Casagrande wrapping the right-hand post of Stanley Menzo from Lentini's clever cross on the run. A couple of penalty appeals to dissect as well. But they're all history now. Louis van Gaal seems pretty relaxed about it all. Second half underway. The floodlighting that I've pointed out to you earlier, which is provided by these temporary structures, now illuminating the stadium. And making it quite clear that referee Zoran Petrovic has to point for a corner to Ajax. You certainly feel that the best policy for Ajax, without going crazy in the quest of a goal, is to keep on attacking as much as they can. One goal would mean that Torino would have to score 2. Roy as Torino push out. There is a very heavy security presence in the stadium tonight. The Dutch game isn't free, sadly, of the hooligan element. There was trouble in Rotterdam on Sunday after the Dutch Cup final, in which Feyenoord beat Roda in what was a very entertaining game and didn't deserve to be marred by trouble after it. Fusi, who is a very crafty character. John van Loon is a tall, strapping striker. Oh, it's Aaron Winter. Oh, good stop from the follow-up from Pettersson. I'm not sure how much Marchegiani knew about it, but he was in the right place. It's a lovely ball by Jonk to Aaron Winter, and a bit of opportunism by Pettersson, and in fact Marchegiani was going that way and did make a genuine save. The replay not doing justice to the power of Pettersson's shot, and the Swedish striker is there again. Well, it's a brisk start to the second half from the home team. Torino have survived it. Casagrande just helping it on to Schifo. Casagrande again. Martin Vasquez. Fusi. Cut out by Alflin. And you just wonder, if John van Loon comes off, whether Alflin will be the player to make way for him, to let Winter play from deeper. Put van Loon through the centre with Pettersson. For the moment, van Loon still has his tracksuit on, but he's certainly preparing. Schifo, fouled by Craig. Well, whenever Torino have needed it in this run to the final, Walter Casagrande has supplied a goal. He scored as many in the UEFA Cup, half a dozen as he scored in the Italian First Division this season. Hasn't always been a regular, particularly over the first part of the season. His first with Torino, incidentally. It might be his last. He's not very enchanted with life in Turin. And it has been pointed out by one or two business representatives who are always looking to make a fast buck or two. that Casagrande might like to come and try his luck in England, where his physique and head work could draw admirers from English clubs. Whether they could afford his wages is another matter. Oh, and Jonk, after a mistake by Fusi, rectified it. Clavero. Schifo again has got up alongside Casagrande. Martin Vasquez on the ball. Lentini. Casagrande using his strength to screen the ball well. Martin Vasquez has the shot. It could have deflected Torino's way. It spun on in the end to Menzo, who's a backup goalkeeper for the Dutch #1, Hans van Breukelen. Blind. Well, the crowd trying to play their part. Roy. Now Jonk. Craik, with Martin Vasquez matching him stride for stride. Here's De Boer. Craik's cross, and Winter couldn't drag it down from thigh high. Accelerating forward was Venturini for Torino. And the referee, is he going to overrule the linesman? I think he must do. It is a throw to Ajax. Torino not very happy about it, but the linesman in the other half of the pitch was a long way away, and the bodies of the two players challenging for the ball then weren't helping his judgment of that incident. It was right under the noses of those on the Ajax bench, and you could see what they thought of it, and they won the day. Alflin. Pedersen, good touch, good control. Now Van Skip. Winter again in the centre. Roy coming in from the far side. Van Skip heading for a better angle for his cross. And Pollicano got the better of him that time. Coming up to 7 minutes played in the second half of the 1992 UEFA Cup final second leg. The 4 goals of the contest all came 2 weeks ago. Jonk and a Pedersen penalty for Ajax, 2 from Casagrande for Torino. And given the European rules, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, as it stands, Ajax are ahead on away goals only. That's a fairly fragile position to be in, but it is a winning position if they can maintain it. Mondonico has been saying since he's been here in Holland, this could be a night of 2 games. One would be a more cautious one for Torino, and then he'll summon the cavalry. That might come in the shape of Bresciani as a striker on the bench. Christian Vieri is another forward who scored in the 4-0 win over Genoa in the league on Saturday. That was his first goal, I think I'm right in saying, in the Italian First Division. Roy. Oh, Pedersen battled hard for it, and it's a corner. A corner that John Van Skip will size up. De Boer has changed his position. He's by the near post this time. Pedersen coming from deep. Oh, and Marchegiani has come out to get it. It was an awkward ball to hit first time. It was Craik who tried to do it, as the depth in the corner actually took it beyond the posse of Torino defenders around the penalty spot. Benedetti trying to loft it towards Martin Vasquez. When you look down the list of countries whose clubs have won the UEFA Cup, top of the list is England with 9, Spain with 8. This is the 34th final, and an absorbing one. Italy have had representatives successful 5 times, and of course in each of the last 3 seasons, with Napoli, then Juventus, and last season it was Inter. But it's Ajax trying to break that run. Foul by Crevero, as Craig, who has a lot of admirers, and rightly so, just breezed past the Torino captain. Van Skip placing the ball, Fusi making absolutely sure it's where he thinks it should be for Torino. Pettersson is there as well, and Jonk is lurking if it's rolled further wide. It's Pettersson who was trying to just curl it inside the angle of post and crossbar. Well, it's going to be a change for Torino, and it is Crevero who's coming off. This is an enforced change, and it's not part of the let's go for broken attack policy. Sordo comes on, and that's a setback for Torino. The influence of Crevero, and also his ability to, as we saw in his attempt to try and win a penalty in the first half, he does have the usual Italian sweeper's knowledge of when to venture forward. It looks to me now as though Fusi is going to take over that role. And here's Sordo in the action on the right-hand side. Long of hair, long of leg. Oh, and short of temper, I think. Claiming that he'd won a corner. Well, there'll certainly be a party here tonight if Ajax can, one way or the other, come up with their expected victory. But it's not been quite in the manner that the fans would have hoped for. But what it has done, as far as the neutrals watching around the world are concerned, it's made it a compelling contest, and one that Torino is still very much in. Casagrande. This is Schifo. Lentini moving into space on the right. Schifo goes the other way. Fusi knows where Lentini is, but didn't quite hit the pass where the number 8 would have liked it. Against Blind's appeal, Torino have the throw. Martin Vasquez takes it. Lentini. Musi well forward. Policano as well. Good challenge by Van Skip. Policano had a look round to see how that happened. He's not used to being bossed about like that. Lovely work on the ball by Roy, elusive stuff. Trying to pick out Van Skip, who challenges in the air again well, at least from his teammates' point of view, but not from the referee's point of view. It's a free kick against Van Skip. Blind covering through the centre. Here's Alflin in his first season with Ajax. Alflin again. Well, there was a time when all the kids in Amsterdam wanted the number 14 shirt of Ajax, which belonged to Johan Cruyff. Now it's the number 10, which is usually the property of Bergkamp. But it's on the back of Alfland tonight. Bergkamp, like, well, just break off as Roy has the shot, not his best effort. There were a couple much better than that in the first half. I was going to point out that Bergkamp with 6 goals in Ajax's run in this tournament, the same as Casagrande. And it's Schifo who is being taken off and isn't very happy about it. Well, they're putting that up as Vieri, but that looks a lot to me like Bresciani. Half an hour to go. And now Torino, in terms of changing it, have done all they can. Nil-nil. The tension is heightening in both camps. And a foul against Bresciani. Mondonico must believe that his team can still pull this out of the fire. Johnny van Schip is the player down for Ajax. Well, Gigi is calling, that's Lentini. Van Schip's okay. Danny Blind taking his time. He hasn't, as captain, got into a position where yet he can start thinking about going up on the podium here to receive the UEFA Cup. Pollicano. That's Venturin. Vinta taking Torino on. He's got Van Schip outside him. Roy joining Pedersen in the middle. Van Schip, Pollicano. That's the problem when you're one-footed. Really, the situation there was designed for a player to tackle with the right foot. Pollicano coming across like that. Really, there was only one outcome. Johnny Van Schip certainly took him on his weaker side. "18 minutes played in the second half. As Ajax get closer and closer, you feel that they're getting a little more nervous. The best way to settle those nerves would be to pull a goal out of the hat here. Craig off Fusi, and away for a corner beyond Pedersen. It's Brian Roy who's coming off. John van Vloon, who certainly has his fans in the crowd, judging by the welcome. Well, he will add a bit more physical presence in the penalty area. not a bad time to come on as a striker who's good in the air. With a corner in the offing, 19 minutes into the second half. Will it come Van Loon's way? He's darting across towards the near post. It's way beyond him. Peterson couldn't make too much of it. Blind. Now Siloy. Van Skip. It's opened up for him. In truth, creating goals is more the forte of Johnny Van Skip than scoring them. But there was one on for him then, really all his own handiwork too, or footwork should I say. And until it came to the swing of the left leg, and he wasn't properly set for that. Well, it's going to Mondonico's plan so far. Now he's moving into the area where he's going to need more in attack. Musi responding to that need. But as Torino do commit themselves into more advanced positions, there's a greater opportunity for Ajax to punish them. Alflin to Van Skip. It's a corner. De Boer comes up towards the near post. Casagrande trying to deal with any flick on. In fact, Sordo climbed well in front of him. And Lentini, this is the type of situation that's tailor-made for him. He's got Bresciani up with him, but Lentini couldn't quite get the ball across the face of the goal. Not yet. He does in the end. Oh, and Casagrande had to take it very quickly. It was the nearest sight of his target because it was a miss kick and confusion in there. And Casagrande spinning, shooting, but not on that occasion scoring. He's done it so often to bring Torino into a position now when in the last quarter of this game, more diligent defending and one goal would win them the cup. It's the defending that they're having to do at the moment. And you see getting the better in the end. The Winter, the flick on by Casagrande. Here's Aaron Winter. Flake. Van Loon looking for the cross. Good jump by Benedetti. Hooked back by Alflin. Van Loon's header. Van Skip. Booted away by Martin Vasquez. De Boer. Ajax have done more of the attacking. And they continue to try and fashion a breakthrough. Casagrande having to help out at the back again. Alflin. Nice change of feet. And Casagrande in the end, right alongside Marchegiani. Which leaves Lentini and Bresciani up through the middle. Martin Vasquez is penalised for dangerous play. It wasn't, I believe, intentional. Blint not settling for playing it back. Craig, now Pedersen. Ajax keeping the ball, trying to keep control. Van Loon got in front of Benedetti, and perhaps on another day might have got a free kick. Sordo, Benedetti, all the way across to Musi. Policano. Lentini. Torino getting it forward now. Bresciani, Casagrande was just a bit slow. I don't think he realised exactly where Blint was. Policano. Off goes Lentini. And you can see the urgency in the Torino ranks. But the strength there in the defending of De Boer. 20 minutes left, and I don't think we're going to get to extra time. That could only happen, of course, if it was 2-2 after 90 minutes. Well, Policano showing that, although he's left-footed, he can play on the right-hand side. Dropping out of the night sky for Casagrande. Martin Vasquez. Don't need any nerves from Menzo then, and there weren't any. Craig. Now Pedersen. Venturin is the number 11. Young. Ajax trying to be measured in their work. In a way, they've not just got to take on Torino here, they've got to take on their own supporters as well, who are used to a little bit more flair in attack. But it's not easy for Louis van Gaal's men. There's a psychology here that is a very important part of the story. Ajax can't overcommit without risking losing the entire prize, which is getting closer and closer within their reach. Mondonico was very annoyed then at a long ball that went forward and was lost straight away. And he'll be worried now as Van Schip sizes up the cross. Marchegiani cut that out in spectacular fashion. He did well to reach it. Having gone for it, he had to, if not hold it directly, make sure it didn't bounce away from his hands, with Winter coming in. There's a foul on Sordo by Stefan Pedersen, who's worked hard in the sharp end for Ajax. Now he drops back. They're just waiting for Benedetti to join Casagrande. Good jump by Van Loon. Oh, and it's deflected. The shot from Musi certainly changed direction, and then again when it hit the post. Well, we are dealing in millimetres at the moment. We've got a better angle here about how it happened. It was off the outstretched leg of Blint and maybe the fingertips of Menzo. And then from the corner, Martin Vasquez dragged his shot wide. Well, that really just sums up the situation. That goes in, and then suddenly Ajax would be, well, they'd be terrified. And you just wonder how they would cope. It would be such a shock to their systems, and that was, well, the nearest they'll come to actually experiencing the shot without feeling the full blast of it. And now Van Schip drags his shot beyond the goalkeeper, but away from the far post. You're seeing here how European football, any football really, if the circumstances are right, doesn't need goals to keep you on the edge of your seat. You really can't predict the outcome in the second leg of this UEFA Cup final. Van Skip. Martin Vasquez stops him. Long throw from Van Skip. Winter chasing it, but it runs beyond him for a goal kick. So the countdown goes on. 15 minutes left. I think we can say that with a fair amount of certainty, plus a little bit of stoppage time, of course. Lentini's header, Casagrande, Bresciani. Policano will thunder it goalwards. I've seen him play quite a lot in the Italian league, and commentators are, of course, never biased, but we do have preferences that we usually keep pretty private. But I must admit to having seen Policano power in 2 or 3 goals in the past, which have made the supposedly impartial broadcaster leap off his seat with the thrill of it all. When he hits the ball, it stays hit. And that one, unfortunately, from Torino's point of view, it kept on rising. Bresciani. Now Martin Vasquez. Pushed back by Ajax. That's a good team play. Header from De Boer. And Loon making life awkward for Benedetti. Well, I'm surprised he can sit down and give that air of relaxation. I'm sure deep down inside his heart is pounding. But they have presented 2 very different faces, the 2 coaches, with Mondonico leaping around like a dervish at times. Oh, Arpeggiani having to make a more difficult save than he would have expected from the stand-in captain, Luca Fusi. Martin Vasquez, here come Torino again. Venturini. Cut out by De Boer. Sordo. And, oh, Pedersen penalised then. It's another opportunity for Torino. All of Italy urging them on, I'm sure, even perhaps the Juventus fans. And certainly a Torino win here would help Juventus. It would maintain them as the only club to have won all 3 European club competitions. That's the stature Ajax will reach if they can keep it at 0-0. And of course, if they can improve that position with a goal here. Alflin. That's nicely done. Van Loon coming in from the far post. Well watched. Forward to Casagrande. Guided on well under pressure, and again by Lentini, looking for Bresciani, but he was never going to get that. And Van Skip getting an ovation. Understandable in this context. Important piece of defending. and he made sure that Ajax kept the ball, but now Sordo is in trouble. Craig was forced a bit wide by the pass, but he certainly played the ball, and rather like Bresciani, irresponsibly on this near side when Van Skip saw it coming and got away from it. And Sordo just went launching in then. Bit of coaching that's not really allowed, but it's going to, in fact, come in the guise of a substitution, because Marciano Vink is another member of the Dutch Olympic squad, is going to come on maybe in place of Craig. Can't see a board as yet. Yes, it is the number 8. Well, happily Craig on his feet and able to walk off. It's a long walk, but it gives him the opportunity to rather bathe in the applause, which is not just for tonight, but for an excellent season. So there'd be a hint of tactics about this as well, I would think. I think asked perhaps to help shore things up. So Craig has taken his leave, he's taken his bow, and we can restart. Certainly a stoppage there that will have the referee analysing when he should end the game. On the watch, there are 9 minutes to go, but I would suggest there'll be a little longer than that. Can Torino do it? Can they do what Mondonico has said since he's been in Amsterdam? It hasn't really been a tough defensive performance. They did in the first half attack when they could, but now there's a foot raised by Casagrande. That'll be a free kick. Now they have to attack, though, to try and snatch the glory. Pollicano thinks there was something in his half, but it's got to go all the way back to Menzo. Of course, let the ball go behind him before he chased after it. You can hardly blame him. It's been a long haul. Ajax, the club who have had problems with their supporters and have been affected by UEFA disciplinary regulations as to where they've been able to stage their matches in the earlier rounds. The shirt pulling by Venturin. Well, we're closing in on the climax of the evening, but we still don't know who is going to go up to get the cup. All the while, it's looked like Ajax, but it only takes a second, and Torino still have time. Van Loon. The crowd, dare I say it, a little premature, particularly with Martin Vasquez. It runs on here for Lentini, who can try and bend one, and it dipped, but too late for Torino. It's really on a knife edge. And I do hope that you won't feel that you've been shortchanged by the absence of goals. That's certainly not the impression here, because it's been technical and tactical, and there has been every effort to manufacture scoring opportunities from both sides. And certainly that will continue from the Italians' point of view. The Italians augmented by their Spaniard and their Brazilian. Bresciani. Here is the Brazilian, Casagrande. Musi has turned very swiftly. That was a bit tight. Musi obviously couldn't see the goal, I wouldn't think, through the line of defenders, and maybe even Casagrande was masking his view as well. This is Vink. And Vink. Well saved by Marchegiani from Alflin. All manufactured by the substitute, Marciano Vink. Marciano nearly landing a knockout blow to Torino. When he does calm down and reflect on it, if it is defeat for Torino, Donico can be proud of his players here. He was disappointed with the mistakes they made at home, but that was taking something away from the excellence of Ajax. Van Loon steered back by Pollicano. Marchegiani not dwelling on the ball. Fusi. Musi trying to come in from the left-hand side. Bowled out by Menzo to Van Skip. 4 minutes plus stoppage time. Van Skip plays for the throw, gets the throw. Van Loon bundling into Fusi. Fusi angry with the linesman. The referee gave the decision. Casagrande. Musi. Stout work by Vink. And that's a fine ball by Jonk. And Van Loon's in the centre. It's Aaron Winter on the ball. It's John Van Loon. It's still 0-0 here. It's still 2-2 on aggregate. That might change. Pollicano holds up Winter. Van Loon comes in over competitively. Pollicano wants to make a fight of it. But it was a grand chance for Ajax to make absolutely sure that the cup was theirs. Van Loon hit it at the goalkeeper. Three minutes left. We've had a run for our money here. Thanks to the persistence of Torino, who refused to accept that Ajax had done the hard work in Turin, and we're going to cruise to the UEFA Cup in front of their own supporters. Here's Venturin. And it goes towards Casagrande, who was leading in on De Boer. And they've got to get him away from the referee, really. He has been booked. But, in the end, he's just about got some self-control, just about. Alflin, you do feel that if Bergkamp had been well enough to play, Ajax might have been able to achieve success more comfortably. Just haven't had the inspirational touch around the opposing penalty area that has been Bergkamp's trademark. There's some admirers in Italy and Spain, of course. One of those admirers, Johan Cruyff. It's down to the wire. Lentini, headed in by Musi. Sordo! Oh, it's hit the bar! Fusi dropped to their knees in agony. Pollicano, have to keep an eye on what's happening in that quarter, but certainly tough on Torino this. Sordo the substitute, bang against the bar, back into play. They've done everything but. Casagrande hit the post in the first half, and Sordo rocks the crossbar here, and it's still not over. Well, it has been an exceptional evening in Amsterdam. Benedetti. And Ajax are hanging on now. Sordo's been penalised for raising a foot. And Petrovic books him for his dissent. This is a very, very experienced referee. Sordo is steaming. Well, we are now into stoppage time. And I must say the jubilation of the supporters is to their credit, because they have been shredded with anxiety as well. But it's only a matter of moments, really. There have been one or two lengthy stoppages. The injury to Craig, shades here of those great days in the early 70s, where there was European night after European night, and Johan Cruyff and his colleagues, if not exactly ruling the world, and they did win that World Club Championship once, I think. Pollicano is sailing very close to the win. And Torino, I'm afraid, having put up such a fight in a football sense, are now putting up the other sort of fight. And it's an unseemly finish to what I must say has been an heroic attempt. But they're beginning to accept that defeat is the outcome, and they are not taking it in the spirit of the game. All of this fracas involving the player down, I think it may be Stefan Pettersson. He was being edged into the corner here and was happy to use up a bit of time, but Torino didn't like that, Pollicano in particular. Well, he was going for the ball, I suppose, secondary. The problem was that Pettersson then made contact with the corner flag. Pollicano says nothing to do with me to the linesman, and it's going to take some sorting out. And how is the game going to end? When is it going to end? Pettersson settling for using up some seconds. Pollicano, in those circumstances, entitled to go for the ball, but there was a mixture of emotion and some pain caused by the flag itself, perhaps. The way Pollicano came in from behind. Louis van Gaal is in the midst of it and is now coming away. Mondonico is back in where he should be, on his bench. And we just await for how the referee is going to restart the game and how much time is going to go on. That's a nice touch there. The two coaches, although Louis van Gaal didn't respond to it. Mondonico remembering where he is and how many are watching around the world. Well, the flag is back, but sadly for Ajax, Pettersson isn't as yet. Now, it looks as though Ajax have a free kick. And they're calling for a stretcher for the Swede. The game's got to see out its course. So Van Schip will take it. Vink coming for a short ball, and they're inviting trouble here. This time Pollicano was able to control himself, and if they can take a corner from down there, that's what they've got to do. The difficulty will be that the stretcher bearers have got right alongside the corner flag to try and attend to Stefan Pettersson, and the linesman saying just wait, and that's very sensible. The game is being halted, and one hopes that Pettersson will be well enough to go up to get his medal, because Ajax are very close to claiming the mementos of victors. As I said earlier, the security presence here has been huge. So many checkpoints around the ground. The Dutch game sadly hasn't solved all its problems yet with regard to the hooligan element. But this is a sorrowful scene. Well, we've had 5 extra minutes beyond the 90. I'll remember, as I'm sure you will for a long time, the moment when Sordo hit the bar. Van Loon, here's Jonk, trying to thread it through for Vink. Is the time for Torino to put together one last attack? Well, didn't happen then. Here's Vink. He's got Winter to his left, but he tried to take on Fusi. Calmly met by Blind. Here's Van Loon. No one in attack for Ajax at the moment. They have a throw. And now they have the UEFA Cup. They've won it on the away goals rule. And how hard they've had to fight for it. Torino had a plan, and it very nearly came off. Stanley Menzo with tears in his eyes, tears of joy, because he knows how close it all was. Ajax winning in truth because of their talented showing in Turin 2 weeks ago, when they twice led Torino and were pegged back twice by Casagrande, who, remember, hit a post in the first half. Torino paced their approach to this second leg, knowing that 1-0 would be enough for them. And when Sordo, the substitute, smashed his shot against the bar at the very death, well, it was the width of that crossbar, was the margin that Ajax had, but it was enough. And Torino's attempts to keep the UEFA Cup in Italy have failed. It goes to Holland for only the 3rd time. Feyenoord in 1974, PSV in 78, and Ajax have now matched Juventus in getting their hands on all 3 major European club cups. In the early 70s, there was that hat-trick in the Champions Cup when Johan Cruyff played the leading role on the pitch. In 1987, Cruyff, the coach who guided Ajax for the Cup Winners' Cup, and now in 1992, a sparkling sequence of performances have been rewarded with the UEFA Cup. 12 matches along the way and not one defeat. And they've had a musical background to much of the evening prior to the game, and it's now the familiar strains. They are the champions in the UEFA Cup. Torino did keep on fighting until the end. And they made the night, really. They made it difficult for Ajax, who will feel, and you can see from the joy, how hard they've had to work for it. But they've produced some marvellous performances. I remember the game in Genoa in the semi-final, when they took the game to the Italians, as they did in Turin in the first leg of the final. The different story tonight. They had to ration their sense of adventure. And now we wait for the presentation. On the right of your picture, the president of UEFA, Lennart Johansson. Well, the supporters lucky enough to be here will see the cup presented, and thousands more will throng the centre of Amsterdam at midnight tonight, when Ajax will show off the fruits of their labours. Danny Blind. Well done to Ajax, and what a tussle it was here in Amsterdam. The 1992 winners of the UEFA Cup are one of the great names in the European scene. Ajax. The setting is an old stadium, but Ajax, if they can keep them together, have a bright young team, and even if they can't, the way things are at the club, they'll find some youngsters to come into these distinctive shirts. When you see the red stripes down the centre and the white either side, you know you're watching Ajax, and they are well worth watching. Casagrande and his Torino teammates have to take it all on the chin. And apart from that skirmish around the Stefan Pettersson episode, they manfully and sportingly, for the most part, went on a difficult road here and very nearly reached their goal. And they deserve to be praised for their efforts. They can reflect now on a very near miss indeed. As I say, the width of the crossbar has had that gone in from Sordo, you wouldn't be looking at these scenes, and the mood in Amsterdam would be much, much quieter. As it is, it's a carnival. It's a festival, and I wonder who will be on the winners' rostrum at Wembley in a week's time in the last of the European finals. And what a mouth-watering occasion that will be. Sampdoria against Barcelona in London. It's a big stadium to go round for the lap of honour. But Ajax will be cheered every step of the way. It's Torino's turn now to go forward for their runners-up mementos. And they can say in years to come, they didn't lose the final out on the pitch, because it's finished 2-2 on aggregate. But the regulations, and no one really disputes the right of these regulations to come into play in these conditions, unlike the penalty shootouts, which are so controversial. The away goals. And now the Master of Ceremonies here calls for appreciation for Torino. And I'm delighted to say that for the most part, the home supporters are, certainly in the main stand here, are recognising the part that the Italians played. Pasquale Bruno going up, who was suspended tonight, who'd played in the first leg. Well, Torino have broken new ground this season. They've reached a final, and they know now how disappointing and painful it is to lose one. That will be the incentive to go one step further, I'm sure, in the years to come. So the cup is now about to be paraded. And on these steeply banked terraces, there is absolute joy. We'll stay with the pictures just for a few more moments, because I'm sure around the world there are plenty of Dutchmen who are leaping up and down. Plenty of Dutchmen who were biting their nails in that dramatic finale. We'll see Ajax off on their circuit of honour, and Louis van Gaal has the cup in his hands, and what a new career for him. The assistant at the start of the season, he couldn't have expected this. He's lost to photographers with a nifty turn of speed, and he's going to catch up with his players. And I think it's time now for us to say goodnight to you wherever you are watching. It's been a pleasure broadcasting a very eventful UEFA Cup final second leg. No goals for you, but a real story and a nail-biting finish. 0-0 here, 2-2